Tales of high engagement, the latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. iHeart Podcast Network Australia and PodSites have published their podcast advertising benchmark report for 2021. Conversion rate is 62% higher on iHeart Podcast Network Australia than the global average from PodSites, according to the data. And global data shows podcast ads are showing their highest engagement figures yet. PodMatch now pays podcast hosts when they release episodes. Podcast hosts will now earn money when releasing new episodes, interviewing a guest via the service. It's either $6 or $39 per month to join PodMatch as a host. PodInbox, a way of getting voicemails and donations from your fans, has launched a free plan without a monthly subscription. You'll just be charged 5% of any donations. Podcast promotion company PodSpike is giving podcasters the opportunity to appear in the PodLP podcast app and appear on 500,000 smartphones across India and Africa. CrimeCon is launching their inaugural Clue Awards, including 2 awards specifically for podcasts. The Women's Podcast Festival returns to London on June the 18th. The programme will include live shows, networking, pitching and parties that celebrate the best in women's podcasting. German podcast hosting company Podigy has launched a dynamic ad server. It's rolling out to all their customers over the next few months. Jeff Ostroff's Looking Forward is now available in Nigeria using MTN's Ord app. You'll also find Podnews there too. We've listed more details in our big list of podcast directories. You'll find that linked from our show notes and our newsletter today. There's a new podcast production company in Bristol in the southwest of the UK. Music production organisation The Famous Company has launched Digital Bulls. And Maple Media's Player FM and Breaker suffered server issues. Meanwhile, on Spotify, Joe Rogan's podcast has mysteriously disappeared twice. We suspect it's just a glitch. And in podcast news, Bone Marry Berry starts today, an R-rated, female-driven, campy murder fiction podcast with an A-list cast, including Sarah Hyland and Harvey Guillen. It follows 26-year-old Ali, played by Hyland, who's closing out the worst year of her life. It's from Dear Media and Romcom Pods. And in the new season of Gimlet's Conviction, released today, nobody seems to know what happened to Nusaiba Hassan. She's a Jordanian-Canadian woman who in 2006 suddenly vanished without a trace. That is, until someone from her past resurfaced, searching for justice. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories in full and subscribe for free, we're at podnews.net.